Hello everyone, big slate in front of us tonight. So I will be doing some research on the spot. We will pick some random games and then go through some players and see can we find any good bets. Starting with Pistons and Pacers, and starting with Siakam. Uh, Looking at the expected minutes, we can see that he's about to play 29 to 39. So setting that kind of range, 30 to 38. He's averaging 25.2 points, and they already played a week ago, less than a week ago, and he scored 29, had huge game, average efficiency. So that's very interesting. But let's see at usage in that game, 30%. Okay, let's see whom was missing in that game. Aaron Nesmith, Toppin, Jackson. All of these guys are out tonight. Maturin and Nemhard played in that game, so kind of the same roster playing as he did tonight. Single players crushed. Matchup looks kind of positive on one side, negative on the other, in between. So this looks kind of all in for an over, but widely available is 23. So if you take a look at 23.5 line, yeah, this is an interesting spot. But betting an over in a game with 10.5 spread against second best defense in the league and against fourth best paint defense, while he scores more than 50% points to the paint, probably be a skip. If this was projected to be a closer game, like 5.5, 6.5 or less spread, I will probably lean into betting Siakam. But with this huge of a blowout chance, even though it does look interesting, that will be a skip for me. On the other side, we have Maturin, who just played 37 minutes in the last game. Stayed right there on the line, but he also had a great game against the Pistons. Insane usage, as you can see in that game, he had 38.2% usage, but overall averaging 27% usage. First two games of the season, 26, 27, 38, 23. So if you are going to look into bigger sample size, all the games, I will be looking at usage between 25 and 35%. And then in the games where he is playing expected minutes, which is 29, 39, I'll do like 30 to 38 just to see how does he perform. Averaging 24.3. So this line could also be on the lower end, and we have minus 109, which is a great for this one. Let's look at his efficiency. Averaging a bit over efficiency. So let's look when he has average efficiency between 40 to 50%, 22.1. Now it makes more sense. We had ton of games where he shot 70%, 63%, 60%, where he shot way above his average in those sample size. So 22, 21.5 line, another huge blowout chance, probably a skip. So I'll now move from that game because huge spread. Not fan of betting overs in that game. And looking at those guys look good for an over lean. If they did look good for an under lean, and then adding the blowout chance, I'll definitely look into betting them under. Next game, let's go to the Jazz and Warriors. And Steph Curry 28.5. They finally adjusted the line. As you can see, the closing line was 25.5, 23.5, 24.5, but with great performances against the Spurs, it's now all the way up to 28.5. I bet him over against the Spurs when the line was 24, 25.5, but now it got a bit high, so skipping on that part. Let's go to Moses Moody. Look at the games when Steph played. He's supposed to play between 22 and 32 minutes tonight. Look at this next opponent stats. They allow second most threes, the most threes to his position, and third most above the break threes. Looks like an amazing matchup. So let's dive deeper into this one. Minutes set 22 to 32. Let's look at the games when he played 22 or more minutes and played up to 34. They were slowly ramping him up. He came back from the injury early into the season, so now he's starting and playing big minutes. The line is set at 2.5. We can see that matchup is almost perfect. They allow, as I said. Also looking at this above the break threes. Also allowing a ton of spot up and transition, sixth most in the league in both of these categories where he scores most of his points. And looking at games where he played 22, 34 minutes with Steph, he over in 5 out of 8, averaging big 3.6 threes a game. Hit 2 unders in a row, so we need to check what happened there. But he played Orlando and Portland. Looking at the threes allowed, Orlando allows the least threes in the league. Horrible matchup. And looking at the Portland, sixth least threes. Also, when we look at the spot up, they allow second league spot up and fifth league spot up. So we exclude those games. Horrible, difficult matchups. Not even close to the ones today. We can see that Moses Moody hit over in 5 out of 6 games, averaging 4.3 threes a game. I mean, our line is at 2.5, which is unbelievable spot, and will definitely bet this as an over in this game. Moving to the next one, let's go to the Bulls and Pelicans. Looks like an interesting matchup. And let's go to the Matas Buzelis. Projected to play 24 to 34 minutes. So let's look at the games when he's playing 24 to 34 minutes. He's averaging 16.5 points in those minutes. So at first glance, looks like a very interesting for Matas Buzelis. But looking at some of these games, we can see that both Kobe White and Gide were out. So let's look at the games when Gide was in. Doesn't move much, drops just a bit. But let's look at the games when both Kobe White and Gide played. That's only 2 games left in very soft matchups against Wizards and Jazz. But let's look at the usage in those games. So to those 2 games, he had usage between 19 and 17%. So not too bad. Not too bad. 17 and 19% is kind of decent usage. So let's look career-wise when he gets 24, 34 minutes with usage between, I'll say 15 to 21%. That's between 17 and 19. And now looking at this, we can see that his average is 12.6 and he is under in more games than not. But let's look at this season. This season he averaged 15. He improved as a player, but now we need to check the efficiency. Probably a bit off the charts, but it's actually not. So when we look at the games where he was shooting between 40 and 50%, he's averaging 14.3 over in 2 out of 3 games. So yeah, I think we can maybe go with a bit higher usage. As we can see that Vucevic is questionable, Okoro is out, Huerter is questionable. So maybe we can go to a bit higher usage for him over the last 2 seasons. Maybe we do 16, maybe even 17 as the floor and up to 24%. Now he's a bit on the over, but doesn't change much. So looking at the matchup, most of his points at the rim, soft matchup there. Second most points coming from above the break 3, soft matchup there. Most of his points coming from transition, soft matchup there. So this will be like averaging 14.4 line is 13.5, and we have an easy matchup. So definitely a lean over. Not looking as great as the one with Moody, but still looking like a good spot to bet an over. I think I will also say I do think his minutes should probably be a bit higher, probably projected. Think the floor should be like 26 minutes, and that changes the stuff a bit. And even if it go up to 28 to 34, we can see that he is at 15.6. Uh, Game is -5. He usually plays like this range 24-34, like he's expected to play 30, but could play down to 24 if it's like a huge blowout or something. So I think this game should be close. The line is only -5, just -5. So when we look at the 28-34, we get way bigger numbers. If you take a look at the efficiency between 40 and 50%, he averaging 16 points over in 8 out of 10, and now getting great matchup for shooting and great matchup for play types. So could be another good bet for an over. Looking at moving forward, maybe an interesting spot somewhere here. I actually obviously researched the entire slate before and placed a ton of bets, a ton of lines move. So I'm kind of walking in the dark and just checking what's up there. Interesting spot could be Zaire Williams because last game he did play 28 minutes, so he's projected to play between 20 and 30 minutes. So 1.5 line for threes is kind of low, especially when you see that he scored 3 against Knicks earlier this season, averaging 2.4 in those minutes. Some guys could be out as it's a back-to-back game. Dubbed it's Zaire Williams. And looking at the matchup, it's absolutely amazing. Most of his points, threes comes above the break. Get generally most points. Knicks allow ton of their 6 most, and they allow second most spot up threes, and they actually allow 5th most threes overall in the league. So this one could be very interesting if we go even further to 22 to 30. He's hitting this in 5 out of 7, including the same head-to-head. And looking at the matchup, it looks absolutely amazing. One of the best matchups in the league for Zaire. So yeah, this could be another one that we would like to bet an over. So yeah, big slate, 10 games. I could go through some of these for like I I usually do like hours of research every day, but I think we covered enough for this video. Make sure to subscribe to not miss any new videos. I'll be doing this every week, and let me know in the comments how do you like it and what would you like me to do in the next one. Thank you guys for watching, and see ya.